Have you ever had your breath taken? Felt out of breath? You couldn't breathe? Has someone ever walked in the room and your heart just started to beat? You got nervous inside. Have you ever had that feeling when you were just about to go on stage or present something to somebody or talk in front of the class? The nervousness inside, the feelings, the emotions. Has somebody ever said something to you and it just got you steaming inside, angry, and you just started? Have you ever went through a tragedy? You got that phone call.
Call you and you're actually to answer your phone.
And your heart drops to the ground. Be calm. Completely allowing life's moments into your life. Calm. I believe that breath is the most important underlying element to staying calm. I believe that breath is what connects all of us. Breath is the first thing that you have in your life and the last thing that you experience before life ends. There are countless examples of why breathing is such an important phenomenon, really, because we don't even know how to breathe. Most of us are breathing reverse of the way that we really should be breathing. Try breathing right now. As I tell you a story that might take your breath away. Go ahead. Just begin to breathe and breathe throughout this story. If you catch yourself, you stop breathing, start breathing again, consciously breathing. And I like to breathe in 4, hold 4, release 4. Obviously, I won't be able to do that because I'm going to be speaking, but go ahead and try it. On the morning of June 27th, 2014, 5 in the morning, the 5th day in the hospital, I sat next to my dear friend Jared, who was fighting for breath. I had never seen anything like it. I couldn't even understand it. It was beyond the realm of my current understanding. That the man that I knew to be the healthiest guy that I personally knew, he was healthier than anybody that I knew. I'd been in the hospital now for 5 days. He had been hooked to an oxygen machine for over 10 days, constantly fighting for his breath. And it was like a daily, actually it was a minute by minute struggle to stay calm. Most of the time I just sat there next to the bed with my Bible, not even saying a word. Family was in and out, friends were in and out. There was times of laughter and times of struggle and times of fear. And often I just sat there like this, calm. I'm thankful, I'm grateful for the ability that I had in that moment, for the ability that I had in those days. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough that I was calm, but it made it a lot more enduring. That morning, I was sitting by his bedside. I have it etched in my mind permanently. He's hooked to all types of machines and he's induced, so there's a breathing machine that's actually breathing for him. And his heart rate is so high, it looks like he's swimming or running a marathon, but he's like gasping for breath. He's asleep at this time, which was very fortunate because he hadn't slept in a long time. He hadn't even been really able to sleep for over a month unless he laid on his face, which is really hard if you have trouble breathing. And there was an hour that he had drifted away. Nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody expected that this healthy man, very strong physically, wasn't going to walk out of this hospital. Doctors say that cancer took his body over, surrounded his lungs, and began to suffocate him, giving him difficulty breathing, making breathing what we take for granted a gasp of life, gasping for life. I was sitting right next to his bed, and he opened his eyes and he looked over at me, fully hooked to a machine, mouth covered. It sounded loud. The breathing was loud because he was hooked to an oxygen machine. And he looks over, and somewhat of panic, he looks right dead in my eyes. He's like, I need water. I said, it's okay, buddy. I'm not gonna drink any water with you. I'm gonna sit here next to you. I grab his hand and he then begins to look left where the monitor is to check everything, to check his stats. And he looks startled. It's startling to look and see that these numbers aren't right. How is this possible? Why am I hooked to this machine? Why can't I breathe? Why can't I drink water? I couldn't drink water. We can't take the mask off. This, the doctor said, was the final resort. And he just looked over, just like, I want water. All I could do was just ask him to be calm. I never really knew how calm he had been this whole time. It reminds me of a gladiator going into the Colosseum, completely calm. He fought for days on end. I'm shocked now that I think about it that he even walked into church the last night before he went to the hospital, hooked to an oxygen machine, assisted breathing. And then he was able to last these last 5 days. It's almost like he knew his family was arriving. His mom had arrived, his sister had arrived, his brother had just arrived the day before him, as if he was just stretching time, bending time to make it happen. His daughter was supposed to arrive that next day, and I believe that he was fighting for this moment. There was ups and downs, because a lot of the time he was not calm. He was panic mode. He was freaked out. He was stressed beyond belief. He didn't know what was happening. And I can understand, what a scary place to be in. And that morning, when he looked over at me and he just wanted water, to not be able to help him, all I could do was stay calm. I had the Bible with me. I've carried this Bible for 15, 16 years. My teacher, Bruce, gave it to me right after my brother Ryan died. Now, those of you that aren't interested or aren't reading the Bible, just so you realize that this is the most popular book in the world ever. The most purchased, read, over 6 billion copies. You might want to check it out. Don't worry about your religious beliefs. There's words and stories in here that could shape and mold our lives. And fortunately for me, this Bible guides me. This is one of the things that keeps me calm. That day, that particular morning, I just opened up the Bible as I often do, and I started just to fan through it, not knowing where I was headed, with no exact intentions of what I was going to land on, hoping that I could be guided in the moment. And I stop here, Isaiah 40. And I'll read just a tiny bit to you, which I then read to him. Comfort for God's people. So right away when I see this, I'm like, oh wow, this is supposed to be. Read it, Stephen. Read it to Jared. And I do. Make straight in the wilderness a highway for our God. Every valley shall be raised up. Every mountain and hill made low. The rough ground shall become level, the rugged places a plain. And the glory of the Lord will be revealed, for all mankind together we will see it. As I read that, it was confirmed in my heart. That was the last time I would ever see my friend alive. He died later that day. There was nothing that anybody could do. It wasn't that we weren't there for him. It was his moment. His last moment of breath. We shared a song, which is the last song he ever heard. Until he's probably playing his own music now. Maybe like the story goes, there's angels with trumpets in heaven playing for him. I must say that he was calm. That last day, those last moments it was the first time in my life that I felt true peace inside of me. Inner peace. The real, true peace. He had one final request. I want a banana Slurpee. I'm like, a banana Slurpee? What do you want a banana Slurpee for? Me and my friend Link, we rush out, we go to every 7-Eleven in town, we're like, we gotta find this guy a banana Slurpee, and we do. We find one. By the time we get back, it's too late. Link stays out. He's a nurse at that hospital, which is already a tragic thing for him to be dealing with, to be part of this, to have to give IV to one of his friends, and that's what his job is, and he's there to do his job, but he wasn't on duty. He had stayed up all night. I had been there for 5 days. I don't know when the last time I had slept. As I got back to the hospital with the banana Slurpee, I knew something was up. Code Blue, I believe it was. They were giving him CPR. They were trying to keep him alive. And I walked into the room, and there was about 15 nurses, doctors, surgeons, physicians, I don't know. It was a chaotic setting. The mother, the sister, the brother, and here I am, wondering when I'd see him again. But it didn't feel tragic, although it ripped my heart out. I believe he made peace, and he was calm. He gave the presence, the feeling of being calm. That's all I could feel. I didn't feel fury. I didn't feel hatred. I didn't feel bitterness. 3 weeks prior, yes, there was shame, there was guilt, there was frustration, there was anger. Those were the feelings that he had inside, which were released and replaced with peace. At 2:30 in the afternoon, when they announced him dead, in those last moments, the only feeling that I could actually describe it as is peace. Sitting here right now, this very moment, the only reason I believe I felt peace was because of how calm I was. Now sure, I've allowed the Holy Spirit to come into my life. I've allowed an awakening to happen. I've allowed a transformation to take place in my heart. And I was calm. I wasn't panicking. The nurses, the doctors, they weren't being calm. Rightfully so. Who wants someone 34 with excellent health condition, appearing physically sound, to die on their clock? Nobody does. And being calm doesn't have to be as sad as this is. The reason I use such a drastic example is because all he was doing was fighting for his breath. Fighting for his breath to live. And if you're running around panicking, all flustered and worried about traffic, who cares about the traffic? Take a deep breath. Every day, I want you to promise me something. Don't take the gift of life, which is your breath, for granted. It's time to heal. Every second, every minute, every hour, and every day. It is on you.